the larger question you'd asked about trading was how. So there's a lot of parallels when you look at the crypto market. There's a lot of parallels between the crypto market and the stock market, and also the forex market. If you understand how to trade on one of those two, because they're already established and they're trusted, and there's systems all around the world that control those two industries, then you can understand. You have a fairly good basis for understanding how the crypto market works. Yeah, but there are some parallels, but there are also some stark differences. Because, like I said, it's a combination of very, very, very many disciplines.
So now what you're saying, to answer my question, to understand you're answering my question, is that this is one Bitcoin, but you can be able to buy a share of that Bitcoin that you can be able to sell when the price is...
What do you mean by a share?
When it's funged, so to speak. Yeah, you can get a funged value of that Bitcoin.
A Bitcoin is worth 66,000. So a Bitcoin is worth 66,000, and you can say, instead of buying a Bitcoin, I don't have enough money to buy one Bitcoin, but I can buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. Yeah.
So it's you're not necessarily like owning a quarter Bitcoin. You're owning $200 worth of the Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Of the $60,000. Yeah. So who owns this 60 that I'm buying from? So
that's just the market price of one Bitcoin.
So Kevin bought a Bitcoin, and then did he put it out in the market and people bought small parts of it, or what happened?
It's like when you go to the market and you see nyanyas are being sold for 10 shillings each, and say, I don't have 10 shillings, but give me nyanya for 20 cents.
They just cut for you like a small piece.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Bitcoin may reduce in terms of its size, or is it bits?
You get a chunk.
There has been a lot of negative press about Bitcoin, and the fact that we are having a currency or a means of trading that is very, very, very malleable to forces outside of its I would say falsified bubble of control, in the sense that if someone like Elon Musk's, that time Elon Musk sent a tweet and it's basically affected the investment. People lost a lot of money.
No, it wasn't Elon.
No. My point is this.
Okay.
Someone can put out a tweet. Someone can make out a statement. The government, China can decide to ban them.
Yeah, actually, China is what affected the price of,
and it
caused the market crash in May.
Exactly, and it cascades across the entire economy of the Bitcoin. Why should someone invest in why do you think someone should invest in crypto if it's so risky? Or do you even appreciate that it's risky? Let's start from there.
Yes, it's certainly risky. I mean, you're reinventing the entire financial system. There's risks attached to that. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
And pretending otherwise would be a lie.
Yes.
Why should you invest in Bitcoin if you believe in the internet?
Everyone does. I mean,
there's still some skeptics. As a matter of fact, the internet received a lot of bad press in the 90s, and Bitcoin, cryptocurrency rather, is just the next iteration of the internet, and it combines the change in the financial system and the evolution of the internet into a similar thing.
Yeah.
I saw an interesting video that talked about the financial systems that we've had. And they usually change. They usually change after something like 30 years. So, I mean, when the dollar was taken off the gold standard, and then, before that, there was another financial system that was in place before that. 30 years before that, there was another one, about 27 to 29 years before that. So I think Bitcoin is just inevitable. It's evolution, two evolutions that I've met.
I think my personal opinion is that Bitcoin, I might be wrong. There are people who believe that Bitcoin is the future. I'm not wholly convinced, because someone said governments are cartels that we're allowed to rule over us. These cartels...
Yes. And that's the thing. Cryptocurrencies, especially the decentralized ones like Bitcoin and Ethereum, what they do is they take the power from government.
From the government.
Because there's one thing we saw last year was that governments can simply print money.
But now, you see, now the question becomes this. The point of printing money is essentially a very important point in the sense of being able to control, being able to stabilize the means of exchange, right? Trade has become, when you print money, what you're doing is this: you're saying we are seeing a situation where we can have a problem into the financial system, so let's do certain things. Yeah, central bank is basically an arm that does certain things to stabilize the economic system.
Yes, precisely, it can manipulate the economy.
So it kind of gives stability to the economic system, gives stability to the economy. But now
that's one way of looking at it.
Economies are very I want to say mobile, but I feel like that's not the correct word. But they morph a lot. There's a lot of morphology that happens in an economy, and unchecked, right? If you don't put correct measures in place, a lot of bad things can happen. That's why we need a government to control. We need someone who's able to control it.
Now, my problem with printing money is this. Not just my problem, but I think the problem with printing money. You've not created any extra value. We just printed more pieces of paper with nothing really to back them. And that's the problem that was unleashed once the US dollar was taken off the gold standard. I don't know if you're familiar with what that means.
I know,
Yeah, precisely. So before then, each dollar that was printed, maybe for the people who don't understand, there was a time. Okay, the way the banking system originated was people would take their valuables to banks, and banks would give them.
It was actually gold and silver.
Gold, and the like. And banks would give them a note, a piece of paper that said, we've got
a certain value.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of gold, you can come, that belongs to you.
Yeah.
So over time it changed, and they were able to offer denominational notes, so that people, instead of having to come and withdraw
the entire stash,
and then bank it again, so that you can take a small amount out, you can just give somebody some paper and tell them
aspect of it.
Yeah, just a small fraction. Tell them.
But you see now what happened.
Backed.
Even back then, credit. Once the bankers realize that they can be able to, on this gold that is held, they can be able to create money out of thin air. Not all the money was backed by gold. There's a huge sizable chunk of it as was backed in gold, but this extra money that the banks made out of credit. Credit essentially is what changed the entire game, and that's why we go to a place where the governments realized we can just get it out of gold standard, and the currency will be floating safely.
No, that's a challenge.
Why is it a challenge?
There's a lot of experts who say that it's going to, first of all, it's not backed by any value.
And that is not a problem.
That is a problem.
The reason why I do not think it's a problem is this. When we have basically money is use accepting a piece of paper that is not worth its value in exchange for something else.
Exactly.
It's a trust system. Because, for example, now, what was it called? I forget the term in economics, but where, say, when we specialize in our different fields, I'm producing a remote, you're producing, your earphones, and your Kabingo is producing his shoes. You'll be very lucky if I come and I coincidentally, you need my remote and I need your, what I said you're producing, and I need your
headphones
and your headphones, and you'd be very lucky.
That's why they agreed.
Now we have a third party called money that can be able to store value. We can be able to I would say a note value to, so that we can use it as a medium of exchange.
Precisely. Let me just pause you there.
Yeah.
What is money?
Money is a medium of exchange, essentially.
So, which means it's not the piece of paper that you put in your pocket.
It's literally anything.
It's literally anything that both of you people agree has value, right?
Anything that we want to exchange.
Yeah. and
It doesn't have to have value. You might want to exchange this guy at this moment because he's making noise in the background.
But you two have to have some sort of consensus that this is valuable to me, it's valuable to you. You can do XYZ with it.
Definitely.
So money historically has usually been commodities like gold, silver. There was a time when it was cowrie shells. There was salt, beans, pepper.
There's some it was pepper.
What purple cloth.
All that, I get.
But now we've come to understand money as pieces of paper that aren't inherently valuable.
But the value of the money is the fact that they are backed by a government. The government it's the guarantor of this piece of paper. If I printed my piece of paper, no one will take it.
Sure. Now that's the problem. What happens when the government goes rogue? What happens when the government says we're just going to print more money so that we can the powerful people in government can become more richer?
Fair enough.
And it happened in Kenya in the 90s.
But
look at Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, let me just explain. Hyperinflation in Zimbabwe got so ridiculous. If you went to a restaurant and asked for a cup of coffee, they had to bill you before they made the coffee. Because if they made it and you drank it, by the time you were finished with your cup, the price would have changed.
You see, I fair enough. But then I'm saying this. What you have done is that you've given me examples of you've given me one of the two or three bad examples that everyone goes to. Right? I think there's Zimbabwe, there's Venezuela, and I want to say Greece for some reason.
There's no good example of people who printed money.
Just let me. Well. And then the example of Kenya you've given is actually it was as a result of an IMF's austerity measure to devalue our currency for them to be able to support us. So no. My point is this. We can point fingers all day long at government printing money, but these are usually majority of the times intended to stabilize the economy, one, and to stabilize the currency itself. That is my point.
That's the excuse.
It's not an excuse. Sometimes it's a practical way of. Do you know how there's something called the economic cycle. Fair enough. I know you're going to say it's caused by the monetary system, but the tools of controlling inflation are usually printing and withdrawing money from the economy.
Okay. Here's an interesting statistic.
Yeah.
About 80% of all US dollars ever minted were minted
last year
in 2020 and 2021.
Yeah. True.
What does that mean when the government can just hold up? Let's just think about that. The US as a country has been around for 300 plus years.
Yeah.
So something like that, close to 300 years. 1776. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what, close to 250 years. 80% of the money ever printed in that country was printed during a short 18-month window.
Fair enough.
What does that mean when the government can just come and print money? This thing that we've come to accept as a store of value.
Here's another statistic I can share. Do you know I think in the world, let me check actually. It's usually a tenth, as in I think let's even assume it's $70 trillion. That is what people claim to own in their bank accounts. The amount of money in circulation is a tenth of that. So, and I know it's
just a second. You're referring to that in US dollars, yeah?
Yes, I'm using.
So what happens if you can just print US dollars? It means even the point of reference is skewed.
Yes, fair enough. That's a very strong point. But then all I'm trying to tell you is this: these measures are not usually rigid. They're not really cast on stone. There are ways of getting that money that has been taken into the market outside the market. There's a way of exactly
monetary policy.
Yeah, there's monetary policies that can be able to remove
inflation.
There are ways in which you can be able to remove that money that is in circulation back into the government itself.
It's interest and inflation.
No.
Central banks.
Sorry?
Central banks do play a role in setting the inflation in the country.
Yes.
And that in itself is a hidden tax.
No problem.
And
But
that's why the whole area of cryptocurrency is becoming so big. It's because people are, they're having like that man in the Bible who had the things that blocked his eyes and then they were removed. Saul, I think. Now they can see. They're seeing that we've been hoodwinked for so long. We believed that there was, what the authority said was the truth and the only way of life. But now they're looking at alternatives. How much? What's the average savings rate in your bank? If you deposit money in a savings account, how much percentage will you get at the end of the year?
They'll give me 3 or 2.
Yet our inflation rate is 7%. You've essentially lost 4% of your money.
That means we are having greedy banking. A greedy banking system. It's not an issue of the government.
Government is the one that has a role in setting in inflation.